One of the last, actually the very last thing of actually framing this in is there's a gap here, and you cannot have that on the outside because the wind will blow on that. It's going to cause stucco problems. So I'm going to measure this right here. It's about 2 5/8 of an inch, and I'm going to go ahead and rip the 2x down and nail it to the back side of this. And that's actually just for the stucco purposes on the outside. Keep the flex from happening. People slamming doors does not cause the stucco to break off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Alright, I've ripped this down. I cut it back a little bit more. It's 2 1/2 inches short. And I'm going to go ahead and put that up in there. The entire door is framed out. What I need to do next is actually cut this out. There's stucco on the back side of it. So when you're cutting stucco, it's usually better to cut it from the outside and use some kind of diamond cutting blade with a circular saw. What I'm going to do from the inside, so I can actually see where I'm at on the outside, I'm going to shoot nails. You can't do this with a hammer and hand nails, but since I have a framing gun with me right now. Alright, since I now can see where my door is, I'm going to go ahead and get my chalk line, and I'm going to hook it on each nail, kind of just to see roughly where I'm at. All the way around. And I'm going to pop a line. That roughly gives me an idea where the door is going to be. Alright, well, since I've made my mark, I'm going to go ahead and bust out the stucco. I'm going to bust out about 6 inches past because you have to put a stucco stop around a door, and that prevents it from the stucco from cracking off or crumbling off as the door gets slammed after it's installed. Alright, I've busted out the stucco in kind of around where the opening's at. Next, you're going to go ahead and clip all the wire. And starting at the bottom usually works a little bit better. That way when you get to the top, it doesn't fall over if it's not nailed up real good. Alright, I'm clipping the wires with just a regular pair of hand side cutters. And I'm cutting it more toward the opening, and that way I can fold it back. Alright, after I have all the wire cut, I'm going to go ahead and pull it off. You kind of grab it, but you have to be careful. This stuff actually gets really sharp. I'm wearing a pair of gloves. It pulls right off. Alright, now I have it exposed. I'm going to go back inside the house, and I'm going to cut it out with a recep saw. I'm going to cut out the opening, and I'll come back out here and finish some of the cutting out here as well. So we're going to go inside. I'm just going to go ahead and cut through, starting, pretty much doesn't really matter where you start. I'm just going to cut out the Celotex here, and just kind of cut right along the 2x's here. The top and side, you can just kind of push right through, and there's the door open. I'm going to have to go ahead and finish cutting out the plate as well, and it's easier to do that from the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut right along the plate here. Alright, since I cut, I'm just going to pry it out. Pull up. Pops right out of there. And this is sill. It's actually for keeping the air from blowing out from underneath the walls. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and bend the wire back, and that's for the trim around the door. It doesn't get in the way. You want the trim around the door to go tight up against here without any obstructions in the way. So just bend all the wire back. If you hit a nail, pull the nail out. And like I was saying before, wearing gloves with this kind of helps. It is kind of sharp. Alright, so this is all you need to install the door. It is completely framed out. All that's left is actually installing the door itself.